More than 12 million Americans can now be proud owners of an I voted sticker. Yes, the latest count shows that 12,374,676 of us have already voted. And that is 9.3% of the total vote in 2008. We're still more than a week away. But voters in the 15 states where early voting is not an option remain beholden to an increasingly archaic American tradition, voting on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. If you live in one of those states, you're still voting like a devoutly religious buggy-driving farmer from 1845. And that was the year that Congress decided to pick a single day for all Americans to vote, based on what was most convenient for what was then our largely agrarian society. Well, times have changed a lot in the last century and a half. My next guest says it's long past time that we change the way that we vote too. Joining me from Burbank, California is Jacob Soboroff, a board member of WhyTuesday.org and a host at HuffPost Live. Hi, Jacob. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
Pretty good. So talk to me. Why Tuesday?
Oh, man. So the short answer is absolutely no good reason whatsoever. And the little bit longer answer is because of, like you said, the law set in 1845 meant to make voting convenient for people that travel by horse and buggy. And today, it's been a while since I've traveled by horse and buggy, and I don't think many of your viewers do either.
Well, look, I love this idea of actually questioning what our voting practices are, because I think typically we always think of however we vote, we think of it as natural or true with a capital T, rather than the result of kind of political wrangling. Tell me a little bit about the story of how we get to Tuesday as a voting day.
Literally, that's what it was. It was literally the most convenient day for a largely agrarian society. So, Wednesday was market day. Sunday, you couldn't travel up for religious observance. It took a day or longer to get to the county seat to vote. It took a day to get back. So by process of elimination, Tuesday was the most convenient day. Today, census data almost every single time indicates that because of the inconvenience of voting, Tuesday is the #1 reason that people don't vote. And you showed the graph or the graphic of those 15 states where people only can vote on Tuesday in this country. Tuesday voting is the big elephant in the room when it comes to voter suppression, because in those 15 states, 65.5 million eligible voters live. And if you are a single mother or a single father, or you have 2 or 3 jobs like so many people, or long hours as a student in school, you only have Tuesday in the hours the polls are open to get to the polls. So Ari Melber, who's with you, I love you, Ari Melber, but Ari wrote an op-ed about how Election Day may be over. We're seeing the end of the actual Election Day. But for those people, that's the only option.
Yeah, it was a great piece.
Do I get?
Yes, you can respond to the love, Ari.
I love you, man. I love you too.
There's a lot of love going on here, and I think Ari, your point in that piece was extraordinarily important. That actually on Tuesday it may be much less important, because it could be that Mitt Romney could win Tuesday and lose the election.
Right. I mean, Jacob's absolutely right. I mean, I wrote a Reuters piece talking about how in many places early voting has completely changed Election Day. He is absolutely right, and really speaking to the reform agenda, which is there's all these other places, and it goes back to what Dorian Warren was saying, which is we're talking about national elections, right? I get federalism. I went to law school. Right. This is a national election, right? We should have uniform, equal protection, national access, and it should be greater than Election Day.
Yeah, so it seems to me that there's a sports analogy here. It's kind of like, in the NCAA, you play one game, and if you win, then you go on, and if you lose, you go. But this is like the playoffs, right? It's like the NBA. You have to keep seeing over a course of several days who ultimately can get, and sustain the greatest amount of support. Let me ask you this, though. What happens in terms of public support for moving to early voting? When we look at all the states that now have some level of early voting, what was the strategy that it took to get that? And can the Virginias and New Yorks and other states manage to move towards that?
Yeah, I think that in every state they're looking at moving towards early voting. The one thing that I would caution is, what happens when you vote too early? I love early voting. I think I'll vote early here in California. But what happens if you vote too early? If you voted for Murdoch and you want to change your vote after this most recent despicable, disgusting thing that he said. So you have to be careful with early voting that you don't vote too early. But early voting is crucial. What we advocate at Why Tuesday is moving Election Day to the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, so that you have the full weekend to vote before the week starts, and you can do it that way on a federal level.
I love it. Vote early, but not too early. You got to vote just right. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you for joining us from Burbank.